This week I have been working on doing drills more one-handed. I do the same thing as when I was introducing a shanked bit with her. I start off with basic drills that she knows and is very confident in and can do very easily, and I start working through those, getting her used to not having so much help from me. Before I start doing drills one-handed, I make sure that I know that she can get her body into the position that I want without too much help from me. I always want to be able to try and set them up for success. So I know that she is capable of doing this. So now I'm just asking for a little bit more and getting her to take more responsibility for what she has to do on the pattern. So here I'm starting with the circle drill and getting her to do circles around the barrels, as it is easier to get her used to the one-handed while I am keeping the arch in her body and moving off in a circle as opposed to a straight line. And as always, I start off trotting in the direction that my first barrel is. I want to get a few nice circles around the barrels before I switch directions and start going to the left at a trot. I also try to do my transition one-handed here so that she gets used to that as well. She made a really nice transition and she gets into position right away coming out of that. So I go ahead and start doing my small circles around the barrels right off of that transition change. So I'm going to come around and get 3 nice circles around these barrels before I do another transition to switch directions and ask her to do a lope to the right. And again, she comes around and makes a nice transition and picks up her rib cage in her shoulder and picks up her lead right away. She feels nice and balanced right off of that transition. So I come right back in to do my smaller circle around the barrel to the right hand side here. You can see that I'm holding the horn while I am loping now. So I'm really focusing on getting my weight up to the front of my saddle in between, and then shifting and pushing my weight back onto my pockets around the barrel so that she gets used to my seat telling her to lengthen or shorten her stride. I really try to be very consistent with how I am asking them to do everything in my slow work so that they are very confident in what I am asking them when we get to the pattern. I decided to do one extra circle around here as I wasn't really happy with how she did that last one before I switched directions. Now I'm going to come up and ask for a transition here. I'm not breaking her down into a trot just to see how she handles it. She does pretty well, picks up her lead right away. She wasn't really settled in and balanced coming to that barrel off of that transition, so I circle to the other side before I ask her to come back in. You can see the difference with how she is carrying herself right there. Like I said before, she wasn't ready to make that turn, so I didn't ask her. I want to try and set them up for success all the time. So I just let her get a couple more strides in and get herself balanced and ready before I asked her to make that turn. And you'll see coming around here after this next barrel, the next 2 barrels actually, she starts getting a little bit funky. She's not balanced and collected. So after this next barrel on the other side here, I have to take a second to go back to 2 hands and get her set up, and then we do a couple more circles and end on a good note. Coming out of this one here, you'll see her fall out of it. So you see I go to 2 hands, get her reset, get her balanced and ready, and then I come back in and do my smaller circles. And I'm going to come back in. As you see, I'm back to one-handed, one hand on the horn, and I'm going to get 2 circles around these barrels where she's nice, balanced, soft, collected, and relaxed. And then I'm going to ask her to stop, and we're going to end there. And you'll be able to see an improvement on our stop when we come up to the top side here. I ask her to stop. If you've watched from the beginning, you'll see that that is a fairly big improvement for her.